April the 16th, 2024. Yes, we know what year it is. We're glad you're out there tuned in to the two best hours of local live talk radio. That's radio coming to you on that frequency modulation band of 102.1 FM. Roger B. here, along with say hi to the main man from Meehan, Mr. Rob Atkinson.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the show once again this morning.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for showing up for work.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. I'll check that box.
Check that box this morning. By the way, after the show, I got to talk to you about a few days off I got coming up. Anyway, now let's move on.
What? Shocker!
Let's move down the microphone list here. Say hi to.
I got days off coming up too.
Here is Mississippi's restaurateur extraordinaire, but still takes time to just lower himself to come and hang out with us. Say hi to.
Stooping pretty low.
Charles Frazier.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, sir. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Yes, nice to be here.
Man. Your week off to a good start?
So far, yeah. Monday was good. So
excellent.
It's Monday. Always a Monday on Monday.
Always a Monday on Monday.
Tuesdays on Tuesdays.
All right. So
if I remember which day of the week it is.
Got the calendar down, Pat.
Well, I have it. I have the day of the week on my watch, so I just look. I don't have the year on there. You were saying everybody knows it's 2024. Sometimes I'm writing a check. I'm like, what year is this?
What year is this?
2018? No.
It just does my heart good to know that you still write checks.
I was going to say that. Yeah, you write checks. Yeah.
I like
old
payroll
checks, but once in a while I have to write checks for purveyors that come in. People bring us produce and things, kind of small farmers and that sort of thing.
Now, do you do direct? You write checks, not direct deposit, right?
You mean for payroll?
You're right.
We don't actually write them. No, we print them out.
You print them out,
right.
But
So
they're real checks. They got to take the check and go deposit at the bank.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Our company does we get paid.
Mm-hmm.
They directly deposit our check in the bank.
I know they do that for me too. It's amazing.
But we still get an envelope.
I know.
That's your receipt
with the statement of what they did.
And then they've got to pay for postage for that too because it's sent in the mail.
Well, some of it does. I just give it here. They hand them out here in the building, but it's like, okay, we're not saving any paper. I know that.
Right. No
we're not doing
saved.
that.
Yeah,
we're
and not postage.
Not saving many steps that I can think of.
In fact, they're paying more because if people would come by physically pick up the check, that would have the same check stub in there. So it's cost. That's why they don't pay us as much. That's what it is.
That's why we haven't had a raise in 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we still have a lot of employees. We've got about 100 employees, and a lot of them don't really use banks. They're on a cash society, so it's kind of an interesting.
I got an uncle that was like that. He didn't use banks. He was on a cash, but he said a lot of his money was somewhere like down in the blue water Caribbean somewhere.
Oh, okay.
That's it's a strange story.
Yeah.
He used to work in Cuba years ago. Anyway, that's a whole different thing.
Right. Okay.
All right. Mornings in Meridian. We are glad you're out there tuned in. Yes, indeed. And, of course, this being not just any Tuesday, this is the third Tuesday of April. This is when we do enjoy a visit from the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department. Welcome to the microphone, Sheriff Ward Calhoun.
Good morning.
Welcome, sir.
Charles, I know everybody needs a mission field, and you've chosen this one. So
Is this a mission?
Well, as I look at the three of you, and I kind of think that's what you're on.
Okay.
24 years, and I still ask myself that same question.
What am I doing here?
What did I do in
16
my life?
for
What
me.
did I do wrong?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I've done this my entire adult life.
But so glad you're here, sir. Of course,
Excited to be here. Always glad to come out and visit with y'all.
Now, you yourself, you've been in law enforcement for a good number of years. So tell us.
Now that you say that, I didn't even think about it. But in another week, it'll be. I gotta stop and think.
Yeah.
That's bad.
He's got to do some math here.
28 years,
28 years in law enforcement.
Well, 28 at the Sheriff's Department as a paid employee, and then another 4 before that as a reserve deputy. Think of a volunteer fireman, volunteer deputy.
Now, see, and that's the thing. I like that volunteer deputy thing. I have offered that to the previous sheriff for years and years. I'd offer my services as a volunteer, but
They were rejected.
Did you have to go through the police academy training back then when you did that?
No, actually, back in 1992, you just got deputized and
raise your right hand.
That was it.
Just like we see on TV.
Yeah, it was all OJT. It was kind of like on the Andy Griffith show, when it had not Barney, but Gomer and Aunt Bee and even hope he.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the way it was.
It's about what it sounds
Otis,
like.
raise your right hand.
Yep. Otis got to be a deputy one time
He
when his
sure
brother
did.
came to town, and he did a very good job.
Well, if Otis can do it, Roger can do it. I think. I mean,
That's
that's
kinda
the
wh-
standard. I
Kind of
mean,
where I'm at on this,
I
but
think
no.
so. Raise your right hand, Roger. We can do it right now.
Now,
We
if you want to be a
deputize
volunteer deputy, you've got to literally go to
What?
the police
Yeah,
academy,
yeah.
go through
Yeah.
the training,
and
all
not even
of
get
it.
paid.
Well, not that. Yeah,
I
exactly.
need some volunteer staff at my place.
Yeah.
It'd be good.
Do I have to go through any training, or just
No,
show
you
up and go to work?
Show up and bring some drinks to the table. And,
I
no,
might
actually,
be, I
let
might
me
be
reassess
interested in that if I get to eat. You know?
Doesn't sound volunteer at that point. Yeah.
Well, I was
Costs
thinking
me
about your
money.
kindness that you were going to show when
Oh,
they showed up to
kindness.
serve tables.
It's elusive.
It's we're off and running this morning. It's going to be a great show, and of course, we'll take any questions that you have for our sheriff, and but that's exactly what this is all about. So you have a chance to you always say, if I ever get a chance to ask that sheriff, I'm going to ask him this question. Well, guess what? This is the day you can do that, because you can call our show at 601-485-9191. 601-485-9191 puts you right here on the show. And, of course, want to remind you that this show is brought to you in part by our good friends at Premier Paint and Body Shop.
That is right. Over 30 years providing the best auto body work and quality paint jobs, led by Ty Booker. They've got over 90 years combined experience. Among that hard-working, dedicated staff, no job is too small, whether it's just a ding, a dent, a scratch, or if it's something bigger, you hit a deer and your whole front end's caved in. They will be happy to help you out. The results are like new. They'll give you a free estimate, work with your insurance company, and, of course, all their work has a lifetime warranty. They are conveniently located right next to Johnson Dodge on Highway 39 North. Give them a call today, 601-482-PAINT. That's 601-27246 for Premier Paint and the Premier Body Shop here.
There you go. Premier Paint and Body Shop. Good folks.
Roger, before we get too far into the show, if you don't make a Donna Jill Johnson announcement, you will be on the bad list. So
The naughty list?
By all means.
I'm always on that.
she sent out a notice yesterday about a large key ring with a full set of office keys that was turned into the circuit clerk's office yesterday. They were found outside of the old courthouse in downtown with the name Rocky on it.
Whoa, Balboa?
You
You think it was here?
Rocky's lost his keys. They do not belong to the Rocky we all know down at Animal Control. So
How do we know that?
Yeah, if you're missing those keys, you can contact the circuit clerk's office at 482-9731. So I just wanted to throw that out there this morning.
Rocky.
All right, now.
Rocky's lost his keys.
In all due respect to our circuit clerk, and I love her to death,
Yeah.
it might just be better if, and Sheriff, you might chime in on this, but if someone's going to identify a ring of keys, it might be best to say there is a name on this ring of keys and not divulge that name, because as it turns out, I could show up at the courthouse and say, I'm Rocky, I want to get my keys.
See, I've always had that problem at ball games, like when somebody like leaves a set of keys somewhere, but like, hey, come up here, and like it could be anybody. So, but this has a bit, so it's got a key ring with Rocky on it.
Yeah, so now I know how to identify myself.
You're
So,
Rocky.
You want to chime in on?
Not at all. I think Donna Jill's done exactly what she should have done.
He's like me. I'm
He
like,
is so
whatever.
smart.
I don't mess
whatever
with Donna
she-
Jill,
Whatever
right?
she says is
Exactly.
So smart.
Do not
I
dispute
trust
Donna.
her ability to discern.
yes.
And I'll
That's
leave
true.
it at
The same way.
You're not Rocky.
Hey, I'm here to pick up my keys.
Let me look at the photo roll real quick.
Big say
Oh,
she's
Donna
probably
Jill.
going to know the person anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, she'll
That's
know
true.
whether
Yeah.
that's not somebody I trust. So let's go outside together and see if it starts your car.
Yeah.
Ah, see, now there you go. See, that's that law enforcement mentality. All right, let's prove that you have, gotcha. Okay, so
That
there you
fob,
go.
and there it is. Oh, that's my car.
In our lost and found department, a lost ring of keys by the old courthouse. Donna Jill Johnson, go by circuit clerk's office and claim the keys that have
Rocky.
the name Rocky on there.
Adrian.
I thought I was on to something last week.
Yes.
You're always looking and saying, what are others doing? And I saw the president say, don't. And I said, that'd probably
about
work.
that.
I think he was saying donut, and it just kind of got.
Well, I just thought I might try that, don't. But it didn't work.
What were you saying? Don't to, or
Well, in my
to
case,
whom
if
you
I,
were
if
saying
I say don't to criminals, I'm going to follow that up with, we're going to come looking for you, and you're going to pay for that. And apparently, if you don't add to it, it doesn't work real well.
You know, that's exactly right. You know, paying attention to the world stage there, Sheriff. That's good. That's good to hear. You kind of, your horizons are broad. That's good. So, yeah, we talked about that a little bit yesterday. Hey, a big headline today. Ran into her and her husband last evening, and of course, the big announcement is that in the world of Lauderdale County politics, again, this is all due respect to the late James Rainey, who was our tax assessor, but he had a right-hand person in the office for years. In fact, she's been on our show many times with him when we were talking tax issues like homestead exemption and things like that. But running for office to fill the void of the tax assessor for Lauderdale County is we have Whitney Hodges.
Yep.
So I think there's a full-page story on that in the Star today. Is that right?
It's in the paper today. Of course, she's been there in the office since 2015 and done a great job, and I think it makes perfect sense that she announced her candidacy. Of course, the special election will be on the November ballot when we go back to the polls, and that's not going to be at a school, by the way. It's going to be at your regular polling place.
We're not going to have a regular special election before the normal election time?
No, it's going to be in November. So,
okay.
So you don't, like
It's
I said,
kinda
you don't,
disappointing.
yeah,
I'm
you don't have to go.
confused
You don't
now.
have to go to a school or any other location. Just go to your regular
All
polling
right, I
place.
don't.
You know, you thought I was the only smart aleck.
No, I knew Rob was too.
Okay,
I mean,
good.
come on. We all three of us. pretty
That's
much.
my. That's
Throwing
my
the
other,
sheriff for that.
That's my
too.
other tattoo.
Because that's exactly where I would go.
Yeah. Yes.
What school do we have to vote at?
How much are my garbage fees?
Oh, okay. There's three of
sorry.
us here.
Okay.
There's clearly three of us here. All right.
Three Stooges.
It's like almost as if God said, "What do we do with these smart alecks? Put them on the radio." I don't know.
Yeah.
That's right.
Put them all in one spot.
That's
Lock the door.
Yeah.
easy to keep an eye on, right?
That's right.
Easy to keep an eye on, and if I decide to strike lightning in one spot,
Oh.
I'll probably get all three at the same time.
Damn.
Sheriff, I do know that we have rights in this country, and I've watched enough television and Dragnet, Jack Webb, the original TV cop, enough to know that there's something called Miranda. I have the right to remain silent. If I give it the right to remain silent, any say I say I can and will be used against me in a court of law. I have a right to have an attorney present. I know I have certain rights. I have the right to speak out against my government if I would like to. I have that freedom of speech. But, Sheriff, there is one thing that I don't believe anybody in this country has a right to do, and that is demonstrate by clogging a thoroughfare, a bridge, a highway, an interstate. I don't think anybody, I don't care what country, race, color, anything, has the right to disrupt traffic flow on a public thoroughfare. And I just wouldn't have been upset at all if somebody hadn't just taken all those people on that bridge and just tossed them over.
Well, let me just say it like this. I'll try the new style. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Don't
Do
that in Lauderdale County, because if you do,
Come on.
it's going to be ask you to move, tell you to move, and then you're going to be removed. So it won't last long.
Well, and I'm glad to hear that, because evidently then I must be somewhat in the correct line of thinking to know that this is not a right a person has.
No, obstructing traffic, numerous other crimes you could, charge individuals with. In these bigger cities, they at times are kinder and gentler, and I think that's what creates some of their problems. That's my opinion on that one.
Let's see, sympathy for law breaking is contempt for law keepers. That's just a little thing I
But
came up
folks, are, who's to say that there's not, for example, on the bridge, you could have had someone who very easily could have been in an ambulance or had a medical emergency, who now is stuck on a bridge with traffic behind them and dies out there. Okay, that sounds far fetched, but it could happen.
Not really far-fetched, really. I mean,
but it's just one of those things where you just look at it and go, what's wrong with these people? You want to protest? There's a way to do that. I swore an oath so you can do that.
I have the right.
Don't block the roads.
Yeah, peaceful assembly.
Yes, exactly.
I can do that. But not obstruct a thoroughfare. And if you do, I think there should be extremely severe consequences if you are even a part of that. Not an organizer, but even a part of that.
Well, and they showed it yesterday, too, that there was some traffic, like people got into that traffic and they were turning around going the other way. Well, that's a one-way on each side of the bridge, and that could have caused a traffic accident, too. So there's another part of that play
the Supreme Court ruled on, I don't remember all the ins and outs, it was a BLM protest where a police officer was injured, severely. And he sued, and the organizer of that event, and it ended up all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court upheld the appellate courts, which said, yes, you're responsible. That organizer should have known that what happened to him was very likely to have happened based upon all the other things that had been going on.
I saw that decision come down. It was Mississippi, Texas, and one other state, I believe. I saw that.
The Fifth Circuit had already affirmed it, and then it had gone to the Supreme Court, and they as well affirmed it.
Now the only caveat I told the wife as we were watching the news last night, I said the only thing is it's a San Francisco bridge. I think Nancy Pelosi lives on that other side. If she's stuck in traffic, I think that's a good thing. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. Let's take a phone call here at Mornings in Meridian, 601-485-9191. Good morning, caller. How you doing?
Good morning, you bunch of perpetrators.
Hey, bunch of perpetrators.
Yeah, is it a gaggle or a bunch or what?
That works. Let's just say a bunch. How you going? That's good. That's a good term.
Hey, I have a question for the sheriff.
All right. He's listening.
A couple of years ago, a girl was murdered up in Sand Flats, and in the process of fleeing, he ran through my mother's house, and that was September was 2 years ago, and I was wondering when that guy is going to be brought to trial.
I would have to check on that for you. I don't know off the top of my head. So the simple answer is I don't know. I do know that it should, you would think we would be pretty close on that one. The system is not fast, unfortunately. I think that's another one of our problems in our society, but that's another issue. But you certainly can contact the district attorney's office, and they'll be able to give you a better, once we turn a case in, we don't even talk to the victims anymore, other than, if they call, we'll certainly talk to them. But what I mean is we don't have any kind of updates. Once we do our work and it's turned in, that's it for us until a trial is held.
All right.
Now let me make sure I understand this story. This is a person who is accused of murder, and this perpetrator ran through your. You said your mom's home?
Yes.
It was across the street or across the highway.
She would have been sitting right there, but for some reason, I credit it all to the good Lord that she had gone to spend the night with my sister that night.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
The little chair that she sat in every night was scattered from the house to the woods in 3 different pieces.
Oh, so did he kind of hold up in the house since no one was there?
No, he fled the scene.
Okay.
And, the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department and the City of Meridian did a great job of apprehending him a few days later.
Okay.
You can run, but you can't hide.
There you go. That's it. And you can't block traffic.
That's right.
All right. All right. Thank you for the phone call. Appreciate that. 601-485-9191. It's just that easy, folks. If you want to ask the sheriff a question, 601-485-9191.
I was just going to say that thinking about it, I think that we would be called a pack of perpetrators, not a bunch.
A pack of perpetrators.
Sort of the alliteration. I think it works better.
It does sound good. A pack of perps.
Pack of perps.
That fits on a T-shirt better.
It does. I like it. Yes. All right. Bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Zane.
Marketing there.
Marketing.
I guess you had to round up a pack of perps every now and then.
We do occasionally.
Yeah, that's it. So.
You pick up a pack of perps.
Good segue. I can break the news this morning, or I can hold on to it.
Well, I tell you what. No, if you've got news to break, you need to do it. But we do have 2 minutes to the break. So
we'll wait.
Okay.
Wait.
All right. So you want to stay tuned because, and I have no idea what he's going to talk about, but evidently he does have some news to break. Mm-hmm. And so Sheriff Ward Calhoun will have an announcement here after our Fox News break coming up. By the way, speaking of coming up, on the national scene, you hear a little bit about the impeachment of
Mayorkas.
yeah, it's better just say the last name. I get into the Alejandro. Okay. I did it. Alejandro.
Puss in Boots.
Listen, you're talking about the Alejandro. That's what you're doing. You're talking about the Alejandro. That's it. All right. He is going to be impeached, of course, by the House. And we're going to have our congressional representative, Michael Guest, will be coming on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the articles are going to be headed over to the Senate, and of course it'll probably die in the Senate more than likely. But that's just where we're at right now with two different chambers, one Democrat, one Republican. But
isn't that what most senators do? Die in the Senate? I'm sorry.
Half of them are already dead, to be honest. But anyway.
Listened to an interesting podcast this past weekend. I listened to a lot of Dan Crenshaw, the representative from Texas, and he had one on there about the history of impeachments. And had the number of people, and I think successfully, if I remember this right, there were only 4 people who have actually been impeached through the entire process, removed, and they were all federal judges that had done something that ended up getting impeached.
Well, we got a few I'd like to put on the list here. Got a couple names I'd like to throw in that list when it comes to these judges. One of them happens to be on a trial up in New York. Yes. Mornings in Meridian. We'll take a break. When we come back, Sheriff Ward Calhoun has an announcement. I don't know what it is. You'll have to stay tuned so that you'll know, too. Oh, yes, there it is. There's the School to Prison Pipeline theme song. Mornings at Meridian, we have the two best hours of local live talk radio right here in East Mississippi and West Alabama.
You woke up on a different side of the bed this morning, didn't you?
You slept on the couch, I think.
I'm about to say, what did you...
I think you slept in the car.
Oh, that's what it
slept
is.
in the car last night.
Were you protesting something?
My key didn't fit. I don't know what the problem is.
Were you blocking your driveway all night?
Welcome back to Mornings at Meridian. I'm so glad you're out there tuned in. Rob's here. Charles is here. Sheriff Ward Calhoun is here with us. And, of course, I'm Roger B. Say good morning, guys. We're just glad that we're up this morning. Glad to be alive.
That's right.
And glad that I don't have to go to any courtroom in New York. Not yet, anyway. It's a great morning. Of course, the good thing about living in our town, we have a lot of good neighbors. And one of the good neighbors that we have here in Meridian is a man by the name of Jeffrey Wilson.
Oh, Jeffrey Wilson, always wearing khakis. That's right. State Farm agent Jeffrey Wilson. Here's the deal. When you combine your State Farm home and auto insurance, you can save an average of $889, which means some may save more. How's that? Pretty good if you ask me.
Yeah.
Just call Jeffrey Wilson today, 601-483-8253. And, of course, you know where he is. He's over there, 2401 Highway 39 North. You need to visit with him once a year. He will sit down and evaluate all of your insurance needs. You might need to add a little. You might need to drop a little bit. But whatever you need to do, Jeffrey Wilson will navigate those murky insurance waters for you. Give him a call today, 601-483-8253, like a good neighbor.
Neighbor.
A neighbor. Jeffrey Wilson is there.
Oh, yeah. There you go. And, of course, Sheriff, welcome back. Glad you're here with us today. And we have a caller on the line. But one line I want to go for, I like when we were talking about the right or the lack of a right, really, to block an intersection or a highway like you saw on the national news with the protesters. I like the term. You'll be asked to move, you'll be told to move, and then you'll be removed. I like that, Sheriff. Thank you. I like it. I'm going to keep that near and dear to my heart. Let's take a phone call here, 601-485-9191. Good morning, caller, and welcome to our show.
MAGA morning, true American patriots.
Hayes.
All right, I'd like to give this warning. Anything that you say can and will be used against you should you appear in a court of law.
I understand.
Okay, good. All right, please proceed.
But I would like to offer Sheriff Calhoun and the deputies my thanks for the professional, fine job that they do. And I want to ask the High Sheriff of Nottingham if he and his deputies ever feel left out when they have the grand jury recommendations and reports. They're never mentioned in there, like needing remedial training and learning how to read and write and things like that and present evidence in court. And I'm sure they get, they've just passed over, man. And but what we need in this town and in this county is for the sheriff to be in charge of all of it. Combine MPD and the sheriff's office and let the sheriff, because the sheriff is elected by the people. And the people have a voice, not just the mayor and the city council, and not just checking boxes and optics. The people actually have the voice. This is the man we want in charge of law enforcement in this county and in this city. It's worked in other places. I believe it would work here. And like I said, you never hear anything bad about the sheriff's department.
You need to come answer the phones down at our place. You might hear some things.
You want Haz answering the phones?
I'm just saying.
Think about that.
We do get phone calls, or visits sometimes.
Okay.
Well, and Roger's comment about people blocking the interstates and intersections and stuff like that. That's when these people need to get introduced to Deputy and Patrolman Billy Club. Give them a wood tune-up. Turn the dogs and the fire trucks on them. These people have no right to do that. It says peaceful protest. Okay.
Yeah, right for
But
peaceful
when you
assembly.
start infringing on somebody else's right, that's when it becomes more than a peaceful protest. Just like when they burn the cities down and all this other, and everybody stands down and lets them do it because they're scared to death of the ACLU. Well, quit being scared. Give this decree: cease, desist, disperse, or die. And the cities will quit being burned down. You're going to have power. Exercise the power. These people have no right to burn somebody's business down just because they're mad or loot it to the walls. They need to go back on the Bill of Rights, and people need to have that in school taught. Again, you have the right of freedom of speech. You have the right to peacefully assemble and to protest peacefully. But when you start infringing on other people's rights and destroying things, that's when the game is on.
There you go.
It's going to stop one way or the other.
All right.
But yeah, I think combining the sheriff's office and the MPD is the best solution. And personally, I think it's the only solution for Meridian, because they are not going to do it any other way.
Now you're preaching my message,
Put the voice back in the people.
There you go. Good job.
That way the sheriff is held accountable to the people. If he wants to be reelected, do a good job. The people will be behind you. And takes the power away from the mayor and the city council. That, you know, they have their little agenda, but the people are the ones paying the taxes. They're the ones out here swatting the bullets and being robbed and every damn thing else. So they need to make the final call on who's going to be the big dog. And I'm personally glad Ward Calhoun is the High Sheriff of Nottingham. I feel much, much safer knowing that.
Okay.
So, Roger that.
Thank you. Thank you for the phone call. You too can be part of the show, 601-485-9191. Any response to anything
Sheriff
said
of
there?
Nottingham was not a good spot to be, because Robin Hood's the hero there.
Yeah, that's
It's not portrayed very well.
Yeah, you know, he seems to be a
maybe a different character.
I get it, but yeah, somebody different. He kind of got embarrassed in the movie I saw. Errol Flynn, that was a great movie.
You were going to make a little announcement. We talked about it before the break, and I know we got a call on the line. But is there time to make that announcement before we take this
call? Caller and
okay, we'll take this phone call, and then we'll hold off on that announcement there. Kind of that's a nice little tease. We're calling radio kind of a tease. It's a tease. 601-485-9191. Good morning, caller. How are you doing today?
Good morning, and a special good morning to Ward Calhoun. They're doing an awesome job. My question is, if you're served papers to appear in court to be a witness of someone you don't know, of an action you're not aware of, then you go to justice court and show it to them, and they tell you to ignore it. Is ignoring it good enough?
Well, let me ask. Well, no would be my answer to begin with. Even if you went to the court says to appear at a certain time, because it depends on which court it is. Now, in justice court, you could be subpoenaed. Let's just say that Roger and I got into an altercation in the street, and you're another neighbor.
Let's just not go back to that. I don't want to talk about
you
that.
You don't want to talk about that. But
the beat down.
No, that did not happen. That was just my example.
Billy Club.
My money's on Ward. All right.
Let's say that I got charged with simple assault by Roger, and I knew you were a witness and you had seen everything. I could subpoena you to come to court so that you could testify, because maybe you're a neighbor and you go, I don't want to get involved. Well, I need you to get involved, because if not, it's just the two of us. So you could be, but of course you're making it sound like you don't even know for sure what it's even about.
I went and I showed them my papers, and I said, I don't know this person. I don't know anything about this action. And they pulled it up on the computer, and they said, your information don't even match what's on here. She told me just to ignore it. I asked if I could get it in writing, and she said they don't do that.
Yeah, that's why my response was I would come to court at the date and time that, the subpoena was served on you for. And, look, you're probably going to be, that's the case. They're just, they'll tell you, and tell you to move along. Good day. Have a great day. Wyman's hat. What? How'd you like that?
Great. I love it.
So that would
pie
be
for you now.
There you go. That's probably what will result in that. And of course, we serve a good number of subpoenas all the time for different courts. It's one of those things that we do that most people don't even realize we do, and we do lots of those. We spend a lot of gas money, time, and energy delivering for trials that never even happened. Plea bargains done that day, a settlement of some kinds had. It's just part of the system. I'm hoping in my lifetime we see where people can have a registered email with the government that this is a crazy idea. Some people look at me and say, "You've lost your mind." I said, "Why?" It's just a matter of getting the legislature to do it, where you could have official correspondence coming to that email. And if you signed up for that, that would be the same as getting it in the post office. Get it in
so
your
you're saying
mailbox,
this would be an email that wouldn't have a lot of junk that keeps me from seeing other important messages in my regular
Instead
email.
of us having to go give a piece of paper to you, you get it by email. A lot of people would appreciate that.
I'll be missing court dates.
Well, that would save a lot of time and save the deputy that delivers it from being the middleman or the one that kind of gets the yak.
I would say text message. Send the subpoena by text message. That would be the thing.
Or either one, but for example, tax papers.
Yeah,
they'll be coming out here soon. Last year, I think we did. I don't remember off the top. I mean, we did a lot of tax. We're talking about like, I don't remember, 1,500 or more tax papers that we have to go and attempt, and we have to keep up with. We attempted, or we left it with someone. You can't just leave it with anybody. It has to be somebody over the age of 16, for example. And some notices you can tape on the door.
Is that tax delinquent papers?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. And so we're charged with doing that kind of stuff. And so it takes a lot of resources and time and energy that we could be doing a lot of other things but it is the law. So we have to follow the law and we have to do it. But, I'm hoping in my lifetime we see some changes.
So the short answer to your question is yes, best to show up and see what it's all about.
So how does that happen?
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. Could it be an error, just a pure error? It could be. It's unlikely. But
well, in my comparison, I was in court over some charges I did to someone, and the docket is the same, which I get to 2024.
Won't you do something? Do us a favor. Tell us that story. That's a good one. What did you do to somebody?
This is in respect to the person I had charges, because I felt bad about having to do it, but I was, after, putting up with a couple years of an issue, I said, something bad's going to really happen if I don't take care of this. And I hated it. I really did.
Was that a spouse? Sounds like a spouse.
No, I don't really know the person. It was animal related.
Oh,
and,
animal.
But anyway.
Yeah.
I forgot where I was going.
There's one thing I noticed. There's a common theme in your situation. All the stuff that relates to you in court is involving people you don't know.
Right. Well, true. But anyway, I think that's how my name got in the system.
Ah, yeah,
and
there you
so
go.
when I compared the dockets and the case number, the docket number was exactly the same, which was 2024, and I assume that's for the year. And the case numbers were numerically. I said, maybe that's how it happened.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Thank you for sharing all that.
One more
go ahead.
Thing.
Sure.
And the Mr. Lee, I believe was his name. I don't know first or last that delivered that. I appreciate him sitting there listening to me yap.
You mean the deputy that served you sat there and listened to you yap? Yeah. Oh, the constable. Okay.
It was okay. Well, it may have been. I thought I was saying deputy. Yeah. I wish I had time to tell you the whole story because it actually was comical, but it's too long.
Okay, well, we appreciate you taking time to tell us what you have told us. Thank you for that.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right, Mornings in Meridian. You too can tell a story about charges you've had to have levied against you when you did something against somebody. 601-485-9191. There you go.
What court's for?
It's what court is for.
Part of what it's there for.
Yeah.
Justice court in particular.
I did recently. I got my check last week for jury duty. I went to on Monday. I was not able to be here 2 weeks ago because of the jury duty, but I was wadeered out of there like crazy.
Oh, well.
$57. How much you got?
46.
46.
Yeah,
Oh,
46.
okay.
Yeah.
Underpaid.
Have to take a gas, all
I
right.
had a 16-mile round trip. Add to that $40.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah,
Thank you
I
very
got-
much.
I got paid for a day.
Wow.
Like I said, half a tank of gas. Congratulations.
That's right. You have won.
You know, serving on a jury is everybody jokes about it, and a lot of folks want out of it, but it is super important to have a good jury pool because
Yeah.
without it, we can do all the work. You can get an indictment, and if you can't get a good jury of good, fair people who are going to spend the time to listen to the case and render a verdict,
And you know
we
what?
have a problem in our system.
And you know what happened with the defense? Since they didn't choose me, they lost.
Wow.
Yeah. They sent me home. They didn't want me. They sent me home.
So the prosecution won.
Yes.
Okay.
The district
So
attorney did.
somebody
The-
won,
the
somebody
people,
lost.
The people won.
Right.
People
Okay.
of Lauderdale County.
Did the defense attorney reject you as a potential juror?
I don't know. I guess she
Okay.
did because
Like strike
one of the questions they asked is, "Do you know the district attorney and the assistant district attorney?" I said I had to say yes.
You don't want to lie. The jury.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to decide, is this important information? I said, well, I guess you don't lie in a courtroom. So
I know. I would.
I said, yes, I do know these people.
And I have a great story. I can make it very short.
Yes.
But you also need to show up for jury duty. We had an incident. This is a long time ago. Matter of fact, back talking about those volunteer years, I want to say I was a reserve at the time. I was with one of the full-time guys, and they had court and were really busy. They needed some help, and I took a day off, and I went down to the court to help. And an individual was supposed to show up for jury duty, and he made a phone call and just said, I ain't coming. He was
Okay. All right.
he was a salesman. I'll leave it at that. And said, I've got things to do. I'm not showing up. And so when his name got called, one of the clerks said, hey, we got a phone call, Judge, and he said he wasn't coming. Judge said, oh, really? So he directed us to go find him.
Go
and
find
we
him.
went to his place of business, and we found him. And when we walked in the door, he had a look on his face, and the deputy I was with was a rather large guy, and he said, sir, you need to come with us, get in the back of the car. You're going down to the courthouse. He said, I told him I'm not going. He said, I've asked you. Now I'm telling you. Same
there-
thought process.
Ask and then tell,
Yeah,
and then, okay,
yeah.
there you go.
And he said, so you're either going to get in the back of that car or we're fixing to put you in there. And so, he was so mad.
Sure.
And so put him in
Sure.
the back of the car, took him up there. Judge dressed him down pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had him go upstairs and sit in the booking area to think about it. Said he'd get back with him. And he got back with him that afternoon about 3:30, 4 o'clock. So he was upstairs to go get him and bring him back. He said, next time you get a jury summons, you better be here.
I sure wish you folks could be here on the next break because that's when we're going to find out who this was. Anyway, it's more. It's mornings in Meridian, and we're having, and that's a good point. Yeah, yes, say yes to jury duty. That's the whole point. Now there was, and this might be a little telling of our society, Sheriff, but I got a little bit amused and saddened all in the same time whenever the question was asked: are any of you related to somebody or someone in your family convicted of a felon? And then you got half of the jury pool standing up. That was that was a little disconcerting. But I do appreciate the honesty of some that said, I would have a hard time bringing a guilty verdict against this person. So I think that kind of eliminated them as a potential juror.
Sure.
So I do appreciate their candid and honesty. But anyway, get a chance to serve, do it. Your court system, your justice system needs you. Otherwise, we become like New York, and you know what that looks like.
Yes, we
All right.
do.
All right, Sheriff Calhoun, tell us what it is that we talked about before the break that you were going to announce.
Well, those that are maybe watching by Facebook have a visual aid, just pack of papers there. But
he does have a pack of papers.
we are
a pack of paper perps.
There you go. Here's 3 here. I already have them.
Whoa.
We're here.
We're going to begin something in the next few weeks. We're still working out all the ins and outs, but we're going to call it Warrant Wednesday.
Warrant Wednesday.
Ward's Warrant Wednesday.
Oh, hey, I didn't even.
Oh,
Pretty good. Look at there. Need to hire him in marketing.
I love it.
But we're going to focus on our Facebook page. We're still looking at exactly how all this is going to work. But bottom line, By the time I'm here next month, we should have it should be going well with that, and we're going to feature a certain number. We're still working on that number, somewhere between 5 and 10 individuals who have outstanding warrants that we are looking for. We're going to focus on and ask the community to help us find them.
Now, how is this different than the Crime Stopper?
Well,
or that kind of thing?
that's CrimeNet on
CrimeNet.
WTOK, and we're in the process with the production staff of working with our local sheriffs around us for the East Mississippi Crime Stoppers, and we're going to do a new same program. We're not going to call it this, but I call it CrimeNet 2.0, kind of a reboot, and where we're going to
call it Warrant Wednesday.
Well, no. That's just us. That's us.
Okay.
Crime Stoppers, it'll still be CrimeNet. We'll be doing that with other sheriffs, the surrounding counties that make up our East Mississippi Crime Stoppers, with Clark, Jasper, Newton, Neshoba, and Kemper.
Nice.
And so that's going to be kicking off here. We've got a production date to get some video done, drone footage, some things we're doing for some PSAs. Hopefully we'll have that running well by May, sometime in early May, mid-May.
Get us some audio over here. Well,
don't use the Iranian drones. Yeah.
No, they tend to get shot down.
They do.
I'm about to say, don't use those.
We want ones that stay up.
Successful.
But we're going to, one of the responsibilities
didn't put enough guys in it.
that we as the sheriff's department have is serving warrants. A lot of people, I get, most people don't understand the system, but when we start talking about town of Meridian or Meridian Police Department, once they present a case to a grand jury and a person gets indicted, then that becomes a county matter. There's no longer, a city or town. It's a county matter. So we end up with those indictments. And, of course, we work with them, and most of the time they're helpful in getting those indictments served. Sometimes you have people that have never been arrested that get indicted, and so then you got to find them.
Okay.
And so, there's no justice until everybody gets in front of the bar of justice, into the courtroom. So we want to make sure that happens.
You can hang that above your restaurant there. No justice until you're in front of the bar.
I love it. Yep.
All right.
Go to the bar. Go directly to the bar.
So the nuts and bolts of this would be then me as John Q. citizen, and I see this as, hey, guess what? This is Warrant Wednesday. What's my involvement?
You'll have a couple of options. One can be calling. One can be going to our website. We have a info tab. You can send an email. You can remain anonymous and contact Crime Stoppers and provide information that way. And so there will be different ways to do that. And what we're wanting to do is for, put a little pressure out there for those that we're looking for. And I think that what we're going to find, we'll have a lot of people who turn themselves in. We've seen that with CrimeNet through the years. Crime Stoppers, focusing on people. And just, and of course it's like a blob. If you've ever seen the movie The Blob, like in 50s, movie references here, it's warrants are that way. We're never going to get them all served because every day, the potential is there for additional warrants. And we've got about a total of about 380 warrants, and that's not 380 people because some of them have more than
multiple
one
warrants.
We're still working through that, trying to clean that up a little bit. And some of them are going to be in prison someplace. Some will have died, perhaps. Some of them are older. We're going to work through all that and get down. But we want to try to see over the course of this year and into next year, we want to see a reduction in the number we have out there to keep things moving through the system. Now, let me say this. These do not include probation violations. A lot of people don't realize, but in our county, there are over 1,400 people on probation, and there are, on average, about 400 to 500 probation violation warrants at any one time. So, and we serve a lot of those, stumbling across folks and involved in other issues. But we're going to focus on these right now, and of course, we'll still be looking for those people as we come across them, or if somebody gives us information about them.
Well, we'd love to kind of highlight that each week. We could call it, we can highlight Warrant Wednesday. And remember, folks, it's Warrant Wednesday. Check out the website, check out whatever, and see if there's somebody you can help the sheriff's department with.
Help our community.
Thank you. That's it. All right, we're going to go to Fox News. Well, just stay with us. happens to be, well, the sheriff's business, because we have as our guest on the show here, Sheriff Ward Calhoun. I'm Roger B. Say hi to Rob Atkinson.
Hey, good morning.
Say
sir.
hi to Charles Frazier.
Hello.
And say hi to Sheriff Ward Calhoun.
Good morning.
Tell you what, we're glad you're out there, and of course, you too can be part of the show. Our number is 601-485-9191, and that's how you get on the show here with us. But we want to also say a big thank you for those who help make this show possible, because Charles and Rob and I we wouldn't have any reason to get up and be here this early if it wasn't for people like John Dufour and the folks down at Battery One Source.
Well, my car wouldn't start. That's one thing.
That's what
Yeah, I couldn't get here.
I wouldn't even be able to come on my golf
That
cart.
would be a great excuse.
And
I
what's
can't make it to work. My car won't start.
And what's
Sorry.
the unofficial slogan of Battery One Source?
Don't be a dumb bunny.
Dumb bunny.
That's right, because the bunny is the battery that always keeps going. So, Battery One Source, 2618 North Frontage Road, in between exit 152 and 153. Batteries for every need and description. Watches, remote cell phones, even laptop computers. If your laptop computer doesn't have a battery, it's not a laptop, it's a desktop. Make it a laptop. Once again, go see John Dufour at Battery One Source. And, of course, if you've got a golf cart, we're getting into golf cart season, I'd say. We're actually pretty much right in the swing of it. See what I did there?
There you go.
Well, if your golf cart ain't running,
Right,
bring it down
sweet.
to John Dufour, and he will fix you up right. Give him a call, 601-693-1500. And, of course, they also fix cell phones down there. Man, they do it all, don't they? Battery One Source is your one source for all batteries. 2618 North Frontage Road, 601-693-1500. They're open 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday.
After watching the Masters Sunday, I did have to get out and just go around the yard,
Drive around in
chipping the ball,
you actually
and all this.
drive the clubs, too?
I just
All
couldn't
right.
stand it. I had to get out. And just,
Cinderella story.
I tell you what, been out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
All right, Sheriff Ward Calhoun, thank you for being here. One thing I got to throw this out, and this is just a by the way kind of thing, because I know it happens in our community. I know it happens everywhere. It's one of those things where people say, well, it's just a big problem nationwide. But I was amazed because one of my other jobs, I do something like preaching, and I was working on a sermon about the seventh commandment, about thou shalt not steal. I did a little research, found out that in 2022 in America, the amount of loss due to shoplifting, I was amazed. I couldn't even comprehend this figure. And I'll just say a wild guess, Charles, how much in this nation each year?
500 billion.
Okay, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
I'm going to say about 10 million.
10 million.
All right, that's pretty low.
Oh,
So
Yeah,
we're
that's way low.
way low.
I found out that the loss to retailers in 2022 was about $112 billion.
Billion, wow.
And about $1 million of that is in Mississippi.
That's just retail, though.
Or close to $1 billion.
What about the government stealing our money? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. That's the whole
Yeah.
different.
So I see these stores in California where they're actually having to lock up everything. And I mean, what's the point of having a retail store when you have to lock up everything and have somebody come and?
That's why most of them are getting out
Yeah, exactly.
of California.
So, I guess in our community, obviously we're not to the point where we have to lock everything down in the store, but I know that our local retailers, they experience this as well. Is this something that you are called in and ever called on to enforce?
Not very often. That's just because we don't have, in the county, outside of the city, outside the town of Meridian, we just don't have a lot of stores. You got Dollar Generals, mom and pop stores. It does happen some at the Dollar Generals. Matter of fact, about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we had a guy at the Dollar General in Collinsville who loaded up a shopping cart full of stuff and just went right out the door. And they called and got lucky. One of the deputies was close and had a car description, caught him on Highway 19, and it was, I think it was close to $700 worth of retail price.
And the unfortunate thing is that's not near the limit in Mississippi that would make that action a felony. So I think we're 1,000. So basically,
I believe that's correct.
I don't know. You can get into your opinion about all this thing, but to me, it just seems like we are encouraging this thing by raising the financial limits and just basically saying that, you can just walk in there and do that. And if you don't get caught, guess what? you're in good shape. If not, then you're just going to get a slap on the wrist.
You know, in our statutes with shoplifting, you've got when you get to a third. It's been a while since I've looked at these. I think that's correct. It's the third one. It's a felony shoplifting,
regardless of the amount.
I think that's correct. I think that is.
Well, that is.
So,
and I
they,
think
they changed the laws a little bit the year before last or 2 years ago on shopping and made it a little stricter than what it had been. Because I remember when I first started, it was $250, and it went to $500. Then we went to $1,000. You know, we keep moving the mark, if you will.
Is that in the interest of saving money of incarcerating criminals? Is that what that's all about? Or the hassle that might involve with the courts?
I won't pretend to read the minds of the legislature. Next time you have one of them on, you can ask them.
All right. That's what
we got a comment over here from Michelle Joyner. She said HB 585 killed the consequences for shoplifting. She said our lawmakers need to address that. Then she went on to say before HB 585, a third offense within a certain period of time was a felony. Right. So the House Bill 585.
And you know, that's turned everything around really in our day. Of misdemeanor crimes. You know, they're now, vast majority of them are cited and given a court date.
And that's
nobody
it.
goes to jail. And then, you know, if they don't show up for court, they have to have another hearing about that. What we did is we convoluted the process to such a degree that it's more cumbersome than it already was.
Well, all right, then advise me, John Q. Citizen, if I should see something that looks to me like somebody who's lifting something out of a store, what advice would you give to me? I know what I want to do, but what's your advice to what I should do?
Contact somebody that works the store, management, make them aware of it. You know, is the best thing to do, and let them decide. Now, look, there are some stores that honestly don't do anything about it. They just let it go.
And that's a tragedy.
And which ones are those?
Oh, gosh.
Could I have that list, please?
At least that's the way it's been described to me. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Some just they don't, you know. Look, this goes way back. Some of my first great stories in life are as working at TG&Y at Broadmoor and at College Park.
They actually used to exist. See, we made reference to that.
That's right.
Toys, Girdles, and Yo-Yos. That was not what it actually stood for. It's actually three men's names. They were out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, as I recall. And but I started there when I was, you know.
If they had only
15.
caught Sam Walton's vision.
Yeah. So, but back then, you know, even at that point in time, we're talking early '80s. You know, I got in trouble one time for chasing a shoplifter down across the parking lot. And,
look at you.
Yeah, the manager was like, "What are you doing?" You know, I'm like, well, the dude was stealing I don't even remember that time what he stole. I got a knife pulled on me one time.
Yeah.
The guy stole a little TV, covered it with a jacket, and I saw him come by the registers, and I took off after him and got out there.
That was harder to do back in
law
the
enforcement at an early age.
Look,
I mean,
yeah,
it was
I think
destined
in
for
the
this.
70s, 80s, you couldn't just put a TV
No,
under
those
your
things were pretty
jacket.
big.
It was one of those smaller ones, but he had put a jacket over and he walked out and it went to a car and he opened the car door and he put the TV in and I walked up and said, "Hey, you got to come back inside me." Now, y'all, I'm 16 years old, 17 maybe, and he pulled out what was basically a butcher knife and he didn't like come after me. He just pulled it out and I was like, that's a bad idea. You know, Ward, you probably don't want to do that, you know. And so he started getting in the car, and another guy that worked
That's
there
when you said, "Enjoy
out.
your TV."
Yeah. Well, we actually got the TV back, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Actually, it was somebody else was driving. I don't remember. I think it was a girl, a woman, and she was yelling at him, and he put the TV in the parking lot, dropped it out, and jumped in the car. And
Okay.
left. So we actually got the TV back.
Well, see, your action had good consequence, good ending. So at an early age, a sense of right and wrong and ready to go into action to enforce the law.
And was not stabbed. So that's
It was
good.
not- that was good. I
And,
don't
we're,
like
and,
that.
and you weren't fired from TG&Y, were you?
No.
There you go. Now, see, in today's time, if you would have done that, you'd have been fired. And like,
Stabbed and fired, probably.
Stabbed and fired.
And the TV would have been a lot easier to fit under the jacket.
Today's, you'd be stabbed, fired, and the TV gone.
Yeah.
Mornings in Meridian. Let's take a phone call here at 601-485-9191. Call if you have a question for the sheriff. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning,
Hey,
Ruth.
Ruth.
You have a question for the sheriff?
Yes, Sheriff. Heard of Doach and Mrs. Perkins. Are you familiar with those terms?
Say them one more time.
We didn't understand them, Ruth.
Doach. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me spell it because
No, just say it better.
DOLCH, Dolch, and Mrs. Perkins, PERKINS.
Dolch and Mrs. Perkins.
Those are not
Sounds
names
like a
I'm familiar
sitcom.
with.
Is that like Cagney and
Oh,
Lacey?
good. Well,
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
The Ghost
That's
of
a
Mrs.
good
Muir.
thing because you can be helpful. If you would please have your staff people go on the internet for Dolch basic site vocabulary and Mrs. Perkins, starting from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. There are these site vocabulary words that students must learn, memorize, because you can't sound them out. And you have the list all the way from kindergarten. It starts at kindergarten. One of the good things about living in Meridian is that you have all of these housing projects. That's a good thing, and it's a bad thing. It's a good thing because with each one of these housing projects, attached is a community center. So at the end of the day, when they come home from school or whatever, you can set it up. They can go to this community center and memorize these words. You can have the volunteers who live there, people. But the reason why I'm talking about the police is because I worked in a district where policemen, they devoted 2 hours a week, volunteer hours, to come into the school system to teach these students these words. And you're even told how to do it. So if you go on the internet, you'll see it there. It'll have the Dolch site vocabulary word list K through 8. And Mrs. Perkins, she came later. Dolch was there, when my mother was a child. It's as old as I don't know what, because most of the reading material that you're going to come across, especially in the elementary grades, will have these words on them. So if you can master, if you want to take it grades 1, 2, 3, kindergarten 1, 2, 3, or you just want to, if you're there at home with your friends or at your community center, with volunteers who came in, even from the banks and all of those places, the business world, people donated 2 hours. The businesses allowed them to come 2 hours a week.
Yes, ma'am. One of the things we don't quite do that particular program, but of course we have a great partnership with our Lauderdale County schools, and we have SRO, school resource officers, assigned to each of those campuses. And so they have several duties there. I always tell them they're kind of like Matt Dillon. They're the marshal of the town, and they take care of law enforcement responsibilities there. They're also a resource to teachers and to staff in terms of, for example, a lot of times government classes, talk about the high schools, will need various speakers. They want a judge to come once a year, or the district attorney, or somebody like that. And they're a resource to help, get those people connected and that kind of thing. And then also they're there as a mentor to young people. And the ones that work in the elementary school, they work along with the teachers at times doing things like reading. I told everybody at a different time in life, I would have didn't have school resource officers back when I first started. Well, they did. I shouldn't say it that way, but it's not something I ever ended up in. I would have loved to have been in an elementary school because I love lunch food from the cafeteria, and
you like the lunch food.
Look, I was one of those kids that was always going back looking for seconds, and that could have been.
Twist.
Well, it could have been because my mother wasn't a real good cook. I don't mean to talk bad about my poor mama, but that was not her forte, and. So anyway, so we do have officers there. They're doing some of those kinds of things, not that particular program, but they are there to help. The schools these days, and I speak from experience. My wife is a teacher of 34 years, retired now, and they teach bell to bell. There's not a lot they have time to let us do. Other than some of the reading things with people with kids who are needing extra help.
All right. And Ruth, I apologize. I accidentally cut you off as I was going to another call. That was not unintentional, but good morning, caller. We have you on board. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Sheriff. The program where the inmates picked up the trash along the side of the roads, was that ended through COVID and getting a bunch of people out of the cell, or was that a program that was funded and is no longer being funded anymore? What happened to the guys picking up the garbage?
Yeah, here's bottom line. It is thus far been a victim of several things. One, COVID. Two, the biggest thing that's happened is in Mississippi, the individuals who the inmate workers who were picking up trash are individuals who they belong to the state of Mississippi. They come to like in our case, we have what's called a regional jail where we have one in Kemper. The Kemper and Neshoba, and then we were a work center, a county, state work center. And those individuals, we used to have as many as 35, I believe was the top number, had them at Hilltop. They were housed separately out of the jail, and we were able to utilize them in lots of different capacities. Our jail was set up with them in mind. It takes between roughly about 10, we can do it with 8 or 9, just to do the food prep and the laundry and the cleaning. Well, when we had 30 or so, we had plenty to also send out to other nonprofit organizations. It was a program where they could sign up for them. One of the things we did was a contract with the Department of Transportation to pick up trash on state highways, and they paid the salary of the employee who took them out, many times provided a vehicle, as far as a used vehicle. They would have like a van to transport them in, a trailer. It's a great program. Here's the problem. With the changes that we've had with who we incarcerate, many of those individuals who before would be eligible for that inmate worker program, well, these days they're put on probation and they're let out so quick, we don't have the numbers. I mean, there are times one time, I was back in the fall, we got into like 6 inmate workers. And that's a huge problem for us because we don't have enough people to do all the food prep and wash the clothes. And so we as a county, it's a good program for them. They're earning time off their sentence. It's good for us because then we don't have to hire people to do certain functions because we have them to do it.
Just a clarification, they're not earning time off their sentence while they're on probation, are they?
No.
Yeah, so.
No. Well, you're right. They're all about letting them back out as quick as possible. Let me ask you something. If y'all go out to arrest someone in the middle of this arrest where y'all have to wrestle them, all your officers, I guess, have to go to the Hulk Hogan School of Wrestling these days before you can become a deputy now. That just makes me so mad you have to get out here in hand-to-hand combat with these guys. Billy Hazmat likes Billy Club. I like Taser. So I wish that the guy, but if someone, y'all in the middle of one of these wrestling matches and one of these idiots spits in y'all's face, can y'all forearm them to the mouth or punch them in the face?
Wow.
I mean, you're talking about people with AIDS. I mean, y'all can file charges and stuff on this spitting on y'all and stuff like that, can't you?
In a specific example, if you had an individual who knew that they had AIDS, there's actually a separate criminal charge for giving somebody AIDS. I don't know. I've heard of it. We've had somebody charged in Lauderdale County with it before. Bottom line, that doesn't happen an awful lot. When it does happen, in terms of getting spit on, it happens it happens more to our detention staff than it happens to the officers, to the deputies out there working. We don't.
Does the detention staff have to wear body cameras?
We're getting there. That's going to be the next thing I see it come. Matter of fact, I talked with a vendor not long ago about, and there are jails that are starting to do that. And look, it's going to cost some money, but it's also a great tool to have for lawsuits. I can't tell y'all the number of times our camera system in that jail has either confirmed an allegation or refuted it. Most of the time refutes it.
Yeah.
And it saves us a lot of tax dollars and because we have to defend ourselves. When we get sued, we have to be able to defend ourselves.
Right.
And in our society today, if it's not on video, most folks don't want to say, oh, well, the day of an officer, a deputy going to court and just saying, this is what happens, it doesn't cut it. And it's a two-edged sword.
I noticed the new courtrooms have nice video screens already.
Well, we have so much video, and sometimes it's not even our video. It's video from witnesses or from a Ring doorbell camera. One of the things we talk about with everybody's, you should make the assumption that you're always being recorded.
Well, let me say this and get out of here.
Say this and get out of here.
I don't know why any good person, man or woman, would want in this day and time would want to be a police officer. I'm so thankful for the ones that do, because the only thing between us and Chicago is our police force. And I appreciate you guys. And but anyway, thank y'all so much, and we listen. Thanks.
Thank you. We're always looking for good people, and look, there's a lot of them there now. We're always looking for more. I encourage anybody interested in law enforcement, being a detention officer, contact us.
Yes, if you'd like to be beat or spit on. No, I'm just
Stop it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You get free pies from Citizen Solly.
There you go.
Hey!
All
It's a
right.
perk.
Mornings in Meridian. We got to take a break again. Ruth, I'm sorry that was an accident. I really did not hang up on you on purpose. Welcome back to Mornings in Meridian, two best hours, local live talk radio in East Mississippi and West Alabama. The last couple hours proves it because we have a distinguished guest. We have Sheriff Ward Calhoun with us today. I'm Roger B. Say hi to Rob.
Good morning.
Say hi to Charles.
Hello.
And say hi to the sheriff.
Good morning.
And say hi to Doug and Doug at Martin Roofing.
That's all you got to do is call them, 601-485-5920, and they will answer, and you can say hi at that point. Martin Roofing, been doing roofing right for over 30 years, locally owned and operated, of course, licensed in the state of Mississippi, and they take pride in standing behind their work from start through cleanup, and I mean cleanup. It's like they were never there except for you got a brand new roof, and it don't leak. Call them today. They'll come by and inspect your roof for damage and give you a free estimate as well. You see their signs all over town. It's like they're running for coroner. I almost said sheriff, but I couldn't say that. But really, you do. I saw like 5 yesterday on my way home. They are incredible. Working everywhere, and there's a reason for that because they are the best in town. Doug Martin Jr., Doug Martin Sr., 601-485-5920.
There you go, Martin Roofing. All right, I'm going to take care of a little business here, folks, real quick. Just say, I think we've got Ruth on the line. Is that right?
Yes, I'm back.
Ruth,
Don't hang up
that's
on her.
all right. We do need to make room for other callers, but I want to apologize. I did not intentionally hang up on you. I was trying to get another line in the queue and accidentally bumped your line and cut you off. So that was not intentional.
No. I understood that. No, and I appreciate.
Or I should say, Ruth, it wasn't intentional this time.
They're right.
But anyway, please wrap up your conversation, and we'll move on to
let me wrap it up.
Wrap it up there. There you go. Yeah, okay. All right.
The question that I want to ask, Sheriff.
Please, yes.
The number of people that you arrest, who are committing the crimes that are on drugs or can't read, or both. What is that percentage? It's probably not very high, for Lauderdale County. And I guess I'm really focusing also on Meridian, but Meridian is in Lauderdale County, so we all have to get on board with this. We have to.
I know you're about reading, so you wanted the question.
Illiterate drug users.
Illiterate drug users. Go ahead.
I just asked him. He's waiting. Yeah. He's getting ready to answer it.
Yeah, he is. If you'll stop, he will answer.
We of course, we don't have a mechanism for actually determining whether or not somebody has the ability to read or write. There's not a mechanism in what we do to make that determination. So I really don't, it would be anecdotal information or an assumption on my part to even put a number out there. I would say that we were probably talking about I can tell you on the drug side that the vast majority of individuals that we arrest, drugs and or alcohol are a contributing factor, a significant contributing factor to their criminal activity.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, Ruth, I got to ask you before you leave here this morning, did you take my advice yesterday?
What was the advice, Roger?
Oh, she already forgot. Okay,
I'm going to say she didn't take it, Roger.
I don't think she took my advice.
Whatever it was.
What was the advice? I'm kind of intrigued now.
Okay, so this is one last thing.
No. The advice was for you not to call the hospital about the person that escorted you.
Oh, right.
Oh, I see. No.
Complaint.
I was not going to call the hospital. No, I always go through an EDIP here. I always have another person who can verify.
Okay, I got you.
Yelp review of the hospital.
So I was going
2
to
stars.
talk to somebody who knows her supervisor, and she can talk to the supervisor. So it's not. No, I wouldn't have. Done
okay,
that.
all right.
Well, they're all literate.
I'm glad you kind of basically let it go. That's good. All right, good
Right,
deal.
that's how that works.
We've got it. We've got it. Yeah. Well, good deal. Well, listen, I did want to ask you. I want to see how that went. So thank you for answering my question, and we've got to move on. So thank you so much, Ruth.
But Roger, may I say this, please?
Please, and quickly. Yes, say it quickly.
Yeah, I'm going to do this. No, the thing about it, I think.
Say it quickly.
You guys could spend less time, just sort of shooting the bull, when you come on or something. You have more time to talk about something seriously. Now, in terms of this basic site.
Now, we got to ask ourselves the question. We got to ask ourselves the question. Is it better for us to shoot the bull and allow more time for Ruth, or shoot the bull and have less time for Ruth? I don't know.
Banana pudding.
Now you got us in a dilemma. We've got a dilemma here. I don't know.
On the billboard. Let's get these words on the billboard. The insurance people who have these billboards out
Okay,
here.
Ruth, we get the message about the word. We get that. Thank
Right.
you. All right, thank you for your interest. Appreciate the call, and thanks for answering my question, and have a good day.
I need to say something real quick.
I'm voting for more BS, I guess. Huh?
Well,
I'm going for that.
I want to thank Charles for something this morning.
Oh,
I didn't do it.
Okay, well, that's
Well,
good.
he has not been gloating this morning,
He's not been
nor
gloating.
has he even mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
Charles, what happened 278 years ago today?
278
Wait a minute, I'm supposed to know this.
Go
They didn't get it over there.
No, I don't have it. Don't have it. No.
What was that? 1740s?
Battle of Culloden.
Culloden. Okay, that was in Scotland, I'm imagining.
Yeah, there you go. Where the English,
Frasers beat the
no,
Cal-
no,
okay,
no,
I don't
no,
even know
no,
what
no,
happened
no.
there.
That's when the English showed
Oh,
up.
the English. See, okay.
They didn't like the bagpipes. You know, I had to do that for Dad.
Right.
I just happened to see it.
Is this the
Look, Scotland's a complicated place because you had they undid everybody. They want to fight the British and be mad at the British, but the truth matters they can't get along with each other.
yeah?
Well, they're all British, but the English.
I'm sorry.
I
You
don't-
that is a
okay.
correct.
All right.
You are
All
correct.
right.
That is correct.
All right.
If one subscribes to the whole
British Isles.
British Isles theory, which everybody does.
Let me guess. Based on we know Charles Fraser has English heritage, and you have Scottish heritage.
There
Well, of
you
course,
go.
the Fraser is the Scottish name.
It is. That's correct.
Well,
so,
now look at there.
Scots Irish. Yeah.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
at
who
this
knows?
point the gene pool is so
It's right.
polluted.
polluted.
You know.
Wow.
By the English.
Spoken like a true Scotsman.
Yeah.
Polluted by the English. All right.
As this is our old version of Braveheart this morning.
I guess it is.
Yeah, that's about the worst movie there is about the way they really work.
Oh, it's a
But
great movie.
It's a great movie, but it's not an accurate.
I used to have a
depiction.
girl work for us named Freedom, and so we'd say Freedom, kind of like Adrian. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
Freedom.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
There was that big speech that Mel Gibson gives as the character of portraying.
he gives a few, yeah.
What's the character he's playing?
William Wallace.
William Wallace.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
They may take our land, but they will not take our freedom.
There you go.
Well, yeah, then they were just backstabbing each other.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
the same.
Scots are the kind of notorious for that. You know,
All right. Well, moving right along this morning.
good history lesson today.
Oh, thank
There you
Yes,
go.
indeed. Good stuff. All right.
All right, the history lesson and more with our visit from Ward Calhoun. Now, you grew up in that because your dad was very much interested in. Of course, he was with archives in his retirement years, but you know, you kind of were taught that because you have history in this town. I mean,
Yeah, you know, Dad.
there's street signs with your ancestors' names on it here.
The DNA, I think, as you grow older, it kind of manifests itself in your life more. I find myself keeping things and finding myself interested in stuff that I've never thought I was interested before, and I'm like,
248 years ago.
We used to
78. Get your dates right.
278. Yeah, awesome.
There you go. But your grandfather was a sheriff of Lauderdale County, Mr. Mosby, I believe.
Correct.
All right, so you have that, and of course Rubish, which
Rubish,
is
right, great-great-grandfather.
one of the founders of the town, or
Yeah.
town fathers, or whatever you call it,
Builder.
a builder in the town. But there's a street sign with his name down the street.
That's right.
I know.
So it's Rubish, and then when you get across interstate where Zane has his
Yeah,
shop,
the
it's Rubbish.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I did want to ask one question. Your thoughts on the grand jury report this past week about county
question.
mention on the detention facility part of things.
Good question.
You know, so I need to tell a story because I like stories. You know, the courthouse that we reached, the old courthouse. I gotta figure out a way to start describing these buildings.
Complex
because
and
you know
courthouse.
the new what I call the new courthouse is actually the government complex.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we have a
I've been
problem with that.
anyway. All right. So the the jail that is on top of the old courthouse. It was a WPA project that was put up there back in 1937.
It shows it.
And there was a remodel done in the courthouse. At that time, the courthouse was finished in 1905, so it was 32 years old. They put this new state-of-the-art 77-bed jail on top of the. All right, so fast forward to 1997. I was at a meeting. The sheriff and Chief Mike Mitchell couldn't go. For some reason, the sheriff sent me. I have no idea why. Really didn't do anything. It was in our CID in the back. There was a guy from the Department of Justice, Board of Supervisors, a couple of them. I want to say maybe an attorney for the county. Anyway, the guy was basically there from the feds to say they're blessing the new detention facility that's been proposed to be built. And he made a comment, and I laughed out loud, and everybody looked at me. It turns out I was prophetic and didn't even know it, because the guy said, gentlemen, this has been approved. It's all going to work great. This facility will serve you well for 18 to 20 years into the future. And I started laughing. I said, do you not know anything about our history? So let me step back just a second.
Looking at this 20-year projected service there.
Numbers from the Bureau of Prisons, I think was the title of it, federal agency, to my grandfather, that are dated in 1936.
Wow.
That when he first became sheriff, about all the problems with the then jail that's not on top of the courthouse, that was where our detention facility is now, would have been the corner of 20th Avenue and 5th Street on that corner. And there's pictures of it. It's a very it's a nice looking building. It's brick, part of it, but it's mainly wooden. And that was their biggest issue, was a fire deal, was the wooden structure. And I don't actually know how old that building was, but anyway, I say all that to say, okay, we moved out of that, went to the top of the courthouse. Now the feds are telling us, hey, you're going to be good for, up to 20 years. And I said, our history with jails in our community is this jail better last us a whole lot longer than that. This community, it's not building a jail in 20. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
So, and here we are.
That was 97. The jail was completed in 90.
We moved in Friday, July 13th, 1998.
Wow,
98.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that should have been a sign for us. But
98.
So this summer,
18, so 25 years.
Well, this summer
years.
be 26. Our jail will be 26, and we've got some issues down there. We've talked about them since the day we moved in. In our budget, we will soon start our budgeting process, getting ready for October for our new budget year. And every year we talk with supervisors and provide them information about things that we're going to need to look at replacing and doing. And so we'll be doing that again. There's has been during the campaign, I heard a lot of people asking me about, is the jail going to get moved out of downtown? They see the things going on downtown, and they wonder about, what's going to happen. And ultimately, when it's said and done, the community is going to have to make a decision, because it's certainly, if we start talking about a new jail, that's going to cost some more money. And it's.
And
I don't know what's going to happen.
And we're already buying a government complex right now.
So I think we as a community, we need to have these conversations. If nothing else, just to have the conversation and plan for our future. I used to tell people, and this is true. When I was growing up, I knew two things about the evil Soviets, the USSR. I remember this. Two things. One was they hated us, and they were communists, and they would kill us if they could. That's one thing I remember. And the second thing was they had a 5-year economic plan. Now, why does a 5th grader or so, when I find this out, why would I? But I remember that.
I didn't
Ultimately,
know that.
we beat them in the Cold War because we just simply outspent them. Because with their 5-year plan, they go come hell or high water, they were going to stick with it. And that's what they did. Okay, well, we don't need to have a 5-year plan. Government, quite often people say run government like business. Well, businesses get to plan out. We don't. We get a 1-year budget. It is very difficult to plan things out into the future very far, and to make decisions that today, many times we look back with hindsight and go, why did we do that? Well, because we were limited to what we could do at the time.
Well, Rob, what is the actual wording of the?
I believe you guys have the copy of it right there in front of you.
What's the actual wording? As far as the jail?
It says the grand jury toured the Lauderdale County Detention Facility and found it to be clean and safe, but also inadequate and outdated. Grand jury recommends that the Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors begins planning for the building of a new detention center. We've had certainly grand juries before, talk about our facility, good and bad. or see challenges. And the grand jury is a good system of having citizens be able to put direct input in the moment, not having to wait for 4 years at the ballot box. And so, their input, I think, is leaders in the community and the government side of things. We need to take that information. We need to look at it. We need to think through that. We need to talk about it. Figure out where do we move from here. What are our plans for the future?
What is Ward Calhoun's wish list? What would you say if you could wave a wand? Where would the jail be? How many beds? Where all this kind of thing?
For me, being the guy who ultimately is responsible for the care, custody, and control of individuals that our community has removed out of a free society, I've got to make sure that we're able to do those things efficiently and that we do them correctly, which is the care, custody, control of these individuals.
Care, custody, and control.
So
the three C's.
The 3 C's. We've got all kind of acronyms we've come up with this morning. Is to use what we have. There's a balance going on here, though. I remember very well when we had an incident happen in the detention facility we're in today. We had an escape, and Sheriff Solid from the Board of Supervisors reminded them at the time, that was a different board than what we have now, that they had instructed him, you don't worry about how it's built, you worry about running it. We build it, you run it. So in our system of government, as a sheriff, I don't get to say, you know what, I want a new building, and then poof, it happens.
I know.
It is.
That's why I said about the magic wand.
Right. Yeah, it would definitely be a magic wand.
Yeah.
So that means that we have to work together, and this board has worked well. I know all of the. We have one new supervisor, Mr. Houston. I'm getting to know him. I knew who he was, but I didn't really know him. All the others have either been supervisors or J.J. Anders. I mean, I've known him since he was a kid. I mean, so I have relationships with them, and we'll work together. And I think their goal, as is my goal, is to work together. Too often in government, I do not like when I see government. We are all serving the same people, so we have to collectively work toward common goals and not be so adversarial with one another. It happens at times, but for the most part, we should be working toward the same goals. So I'll be working with the board. I'm sure they'll be working with me, and we will work for the best answers for our community.
For all those in government service, what Ward is saying is, we pay all y'all.
Exactly.
Y'all working for us. We're going to take a quick break, come back, playing some Dusty Springfield. She was born this day back in 1939.
There you go.
All right, we're going to take a break. Be right back. little Jerry Rafferty there. He was born on this day back in 1947. We lost him in 2011.
Wow. Never found him.
Never found him.
Okay.
Anyway, some good music. Other birthdays include the actress Ellen Barkin. Yes, she's 70 years old today. Probably a lovely 70.
Lovely. Yes.
Probably so. Let's see here. John Cryer, the actor, 59. And remember him from 2.5 Men. Men. Let's see. Martin Lawrence. Oh, yeah. He's 59 years old today. So happy birthday. If today is your birthday, the legendary New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick, 72.
Oh, has the most exciting press conferences of all time.
Like the hoodies. Yeah.
He's like, so coach, what do you think about the player team? Well, we just didn't do well today.
Right. We didn't win.
Yeah, we didn't do anything.
I'll tell you somebody who would be really good on radio. He's a very good speaker, conversationalist, but he's a good businessman. And that's Jerry Purvis.
We ought to have him on.
Let's plan on that.
We need to get him on the show.
Let's get Jerry on the show. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. He'd be a great radio guy.
Well, even better, if we can't get him here, we can go see him at Purvis Business Machines, 4505 Highway 39 North. Of course, check him out online as well. GoPurvis.com. They've got lease, return, color copiers. You can save up to 85% on those. You're paying just 15% of retail, and they're just gently used copiers. And the big thing about Purvis Business Machines is connectivity. They will connect that Purvis Business Machine to all of your devices: phone, watch, iPad, tablet, laptop, if it's working, desktop, whatever you've got, it will all be connected, and all of those documents will be managed. It's kind of one stop, but it's just everything right there, and they will set up all of that for you. Check them out, gopurvis.com, 4505 Highway 39 North, or give them a call, 601-693-COPY. That's Purvis Business Machines, service, not excuses, since 1979.
All right. Excuse me. Yeah, we're here with Sheriff Ward Calhoun, and we want to just say, we got 3 minutes left. What can we do? We, as the citizenry of Lauderdale County, what can we do to help you enforce the laws of our society?
Be the eyes and ears.
Eyes and ears.
Well, I tell you what. Let me back up. Let me take a different little tack on this. First thing is be a good citizen by being a good citizen and following the law yourself.
Oh, well, wait a minute.
Obey the law.
Yeah, don't
quit breaking the law.
Well, don't look at it as that's for everybody else, but I can do whatever I want. So that's that. Everybody's a leader. If nothing else, you're a leader of yourself. So lead yourself in the right direction.
Oh, and
then make sure we're aware of things that you see, find out about, or most times see. But go ahead and make the call. Don't assume that somebody else is going to see, whatever it is that you're seeing, whether it be a car crash or whether you see a truck backed up to your neighbor's house and they're loading TVs or whatever in there. Okay, you should make that phone call to 911 and let us know about that kind of thing. So being the eyes and ears, there are never going to be enough law enforcement, I don't care where you are, to do everything that we need to do without the multiplier effect of citizens, good citizens, looking out for their neighbors and ultimately for their community and themselves by informing law enforcement about things that they see in the community or hear about.
Do you approve all citizens who are eligible to be able to carry firearms?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I always tell folks when this issue comes up, Second Amendment doesn't say it. I will simply put my 2 cents worth. I think it is a lot like a coin that has two sides. One is you have that right is on one side of that coin, and the other side is you have a responsibility. If you're going to be a firearms owner, you need and you're going to utilize a firearm to protect yourself or others. That is something that you can't get the instruction manual out when you need it. You've got to have already, use that weapon, thought through the process. Be a responsible gun owner is what I'm saying.
Sheriff Ward Calhoun, thank you for taking time to be on our show this morning. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Looking forward to next month.
There we go.
All right. And, fellas, tomorrow our Congressman Michael Guest will join us.
Be on the program,
And so get your questions ready for him. With that, it's time to say goodbye, and thank you for listening, and God bless. And We want people to buy things where?
Local.
Buy local. There you go. See you tomorrow.